What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with a special one this time. Indeed, I wanted to start by giving a big shout out to Lisa, friend of the channel, supporter and supplier of the Bee Gees deep dive, and who shows up in a number of different places with comments. And apparently her niece, who goes by the name not just here professionally, and I think Junie on a personal level, has put out an album called Steps. Now this apparently was early last year, I want to say. I don't remember exactly. I want to say maybe like February of last year. Nevertheless, I've been meaning to get around to this for a while, and I have been in the last couple weeks trying to catch up on a number of things that fell by the wayside, and this is one of them. So yes, she said that this is a mixture of a Jewel and Norah Jones type of musical atmosphere. Ultimately, I believe her niece is still a teenager, so a young artist, so big shout out to her as well. And yes, I don't really know what to expect of this sonically or lyrically or anything to that effect, but the first track on the album is called Gray. And as I often do for anyone new here, I think about titles in advance just to get a sense of what I may encounter or what concepts and themes might be in play. And gray is a color somewhere between black and white. It is often used to express ambiguity or complexity of character and tone, and thus is not something which can be described in a very clear sense, whether you're talking emotionally or just literally visually. So to be gray is to be mixed, it's to be ambiguous, it's to be complicated. And in that regard, I wonder whether gray is an external perception, whether it's an internal feeling or color psycho-emotionally. I'll see what I can pick up on a first listen, but this is Not Just Here from the album Steps, and the track is Gray. Or it should be, but I guess my system needs to be replugged in. Give me one moment, and away we go. Got some swagger to it. Some jazzy swagger.
I just don't want to. When you said that we should stop this, I just assumed that you weren't being honest. Remember when you said we'd make it out alive? But living in this world without you's not alive, at least not mine. And I know it's okay. We're better off this been this way. I wish that it all just stayed the same, but in and out we need a change. Try to fix it, but we never could. I wanted to be better, but I never would. I tried to make it different 'cause I thought I should, but in the end I just kept thinking, please don't forget me. I'll forget you, 'cause even when I try, I just don't want to. When you said that we should stop, 'cause I just assumed that you weren't being honest. Remember when you said we'd make it out alive? But living in this world without you's not alive, at least not mine. And I know it's okay. We're better off this way. And I know that I am never gonna feel the same. And I know that that's not gonna change.
Seriously? Holy smokes. That is an incredible album opener. And the fact that I know she's only a teenager, that is a remarkably powerful, confident, vocally agile, just a remarkable performance. I mean, seriously, from the composition, which again has this jazzy swagger, but it slows, it gets faster. Suddenly we hear a cello. I think that was a cello, which gives it this real dramatic import, mixed with these piano flourishes and then different melodic lines. Indeed, there was one near the end that was particularly compelling. So just the composition alone is fantastic and dynamic. It's not easily predictable, but it's also a bit intuitive, so it has that blend of you're still surprised and you're on your toes a little bit, but when it does make a turn, when it does make a shift, it's like, oh, that's right, that it turned the right way. That's something that my brain appreciates. But then the vocal performance, the range, going big and powerful, but also letting her voice flare out in some moments, which gives it that human touch, that emotional feel where the emotion is carrying the delivery, but then almost like this scatting type of rapid fire, which the enunciation and, as I said, the vocal agility required to sing that type of line and to do multiple of them back to back to back, that's incredible. And then also, again, that sort of jazz singer walking around among the audience type of dynamic where it feels like there's a bit of a cheeky wink that goes along with some of the delivery. It's just all great. So I don't know much of Norah Jones' work or Jewel. I know of both of them. Jewel, I think I've heard more songs by. Norah Jones, my sister is a fan of, so perhaps I'll have to get some of her collection and hear more of this type of music. But honestly, this is fantastic. Big shout out to Junie, aka Not Just Here. Thank you again to Lisa for bringing this to my attention. I think there's 10 tracks. Am I remembering this correctly? I have the folder open. Give me one moment. Yes, there's 10 tracks, so that's 1/10 of our journey through this album. Looking forward to it even more now after hearing that. People who know this channel know I like jazz and dynamic jazz, whether we're talking like progressive jazz or big band jazz or improvisational jazz. But I also like singers who show a variation in the way they deliver, who are willing to have a human quality. I've talked about in Tori Amos reactions how you can often hear her breathing or even sort of swallowing as she begins to do the next line, so it feels natural, it feels human, it doesn't feel hyper polished and messed with in a studio. And to be fair, there's nothing wrong with very closely, what's the right word? Again, mastered or engineered vocals where it has just a crisp, perfect sound and you don't hear any breaths or anything. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do enjoy when there's a sort of natural beauty to the delivery, to the vocal performance, which gives it this, down-to-earth kind of feel. And that's definitely what I heard here. So, yeah, very excited after this opening track. Once again, shout out to Lisa for bringing this to my attention and to Junie for the performance. Anyone who's interested, I'm sure Lisa will comment here, so, let her know if you're interested in checking out her album, which I believe Lisa said is on Spotify. So if you do the Spotify thing, again, that's these newfangled music streaming services are a bit beyond my years. I still collect physical media when I can, and try to find MP3s and so on. If I don't have the physical media. But the point is, if you have a Spotify account, I believe this album is available, so you can check it out. Poof! So in my haste, I wrapped up the video, and I forgot to mention the lyrics. I was so blown away by the vocals and the composition and the dynamic nature of the track, the way it sped up, slowed down, had notably different sections. So what I took away from the lyrics, which again, it reminds me of some other songs by younger artists which seem to have an old soul, meaning they're referencing complicated feelings and nuanced relationships that would in some respects seem to be beyond their years. It sounds like a person who is aware that the individual to whom they are emotionally attached is imperfect or a complicated person to be involved with, but the moment that they're out of their life, it's suddenly like life makes no sense anymore. They don't really know how to function. They can't conceive of going on and living without the presence of this person in their life emotionally, physically, and interpersonally. So yes, it feels like the kind of song that might come from a 70-year-old blues singer, but in fact is from a younger artist. So I'm always impressed when there's that prescient view of the indeed complicated world of adult emotions and interactions and relationships. So yes, it feels like it's a song about the gray areas of being involved with someone who may have their own baggage, their own issues, and the difficulties they might bring to your life. But as Bono once said in a U2 song, you can't live with them, but you can't live without them. It's that dynamic of they're all that you need, even if they're also all that you don't want at the same time. So yeah, maybe there's some lines in there that I'll have to hear a second or third time, which again, if you're new here, I don't look at lyrics in advance, and even after the first listen, I like to let them digest and try to think about what I've heard. And after a few more listens, I tend to pick up a little bit more and get a clearer picture of what's going on thematically. And fair to say, in some cases, if after 3 or 4 or 5 listens, there's still a couple lines that just because of the pronunciation or the way the line is delivered, I can't quite hear it straight, then I will eventually look at album notes or try to go online and see if I can find lyrics posted somewhere. But yes, when I first listen to a tune, I like to just let it wash over me, including lyrically. And what I took away from this is that it's a emotionally honest and vulnerable depiction of one's own feelings vis-a-vis another person who may be a challenge, who may be complicated, but they certainly have value and bring emotional enjoyment to the person who's singing, the narrator of the song, if you will. So that's what I took away from it. Once again, big shout out to Lisa, shout out to Junie, thank you for sharing the album. We'll go through the remaining 9 tunes on the album. I'm looking forward to it even more now. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.